So, inspired by the work of Jason Golia earlier today about using 3 plugins, Web Search, Stories, and Visla to create a children's book, which he did in under 6 minutes, I thought I would try that myself, and I believe I pulled off the task in less than 2 minutes. So, the first thing I did was I went to ChatGPT4 and I enabled those 3 plugins. Again, it's Stories, Visla, and Web Search. And excuse me, since I didn't have all the knowledge about children's stories that Jason does, I asked ChatGPT to identify 10 major children's book authors for 5 years olds. And I went through and then I looked at some popular themes for a journey or for some different things it could do, different plot lines. There's journey and quest, friendship, problem solving. I picked imagination or fantasy because I know someone in California who is 4 or was 4, maybe he is 5 by now. And the idea is that he likes Spider-Man. So I was going to ask it to write a story about Spider-Man. So what I did is I picked one of the children's authors. I picked Eric Carle. And I created a pretty simple prompt. It said, imagine that you are the author, the children's author, Eric Carle. Write a story in the style of imagination and fantasy with Spider-Man as the main character. This story should take place along the California coastline. And because the child's in California, then I said, please use the Stories plugin to produce the story, and then the Visla plugin to produce a video of the story. So it probably took about 30 seconds for it to do that, and it wrote an entire story that's accessible. And then it used Storybird.ai stories to create the story. And I'm going to click here, and you can see at the story. Once upon a time, in a magical world where superheroes exist, Spider-Man found himself far from the bustling city of New York. He had traveled to a place where the sun shines brightly out there in California. We can go through, and we can click through the stories. He swung through the palm trees. Everything was different than New York City. He discovered towering cliffs, just like there are in California. And on the edge of the water, it was great. Spider-Man, he just couldn't resist, so he jumped right into the water. And then when he got out, he started swinging through the trees. And he went around and he explored the houses on the coastline. And while strolling along the beach, he noticed a little girl in distress. And he carried himself up the steep cliff to see if he could help the little girl. And he engaged in some heroic actions. And he ended up there kind of trying to find the girl. He ended up on a remote island in a magical cave. And he was intrigued by this silver key, and he felt a connection to it. It seemed to sparkle with magic energy that he couldn't resist, and he placed the key in his pocket. And he noticed that, as he continued, that he really had these magical powers, even greater abilities than he previously had. Look how much bigger he kind of gets. He starts surfing the waves. And a beautiful park, he finds music and a new appreciation for the arts. And he decides to paint. He becomes a painter. And really starts to enjoy the magic of nature. Now, he knew that his time in California would have to end, and he had a responsibility to protect the people of New York City. So he gathered all the magical items from the treasure chest, and he said goodbye to California. He said goodbye to the coastline, and he swung back to the busy streets of New York City. And there's where our story ends. Now, let's go back to OpenAI, where, remember, I had my movie, of course, to see. We haven't seen the movie yet, right? Created the movie. So let's go down and check out the movie.
In this video adaptation of the children's story, Spider-Man's Coastal Adventure, we follow Spider-Man as he explores the beautiful California coastline. Spider-Man doesn't just swing between skyscrapers in New York City, but also explores the sandy beaches, rocky cliffs, and lush forests of California. As always, Spider-Man is ready to help those in need and protect the innocent. But in this new environment, Spider-Man will also discover the magic of nature and the power of imagination. Join Spider-Man on this magical journey along the California coastline. Watch as he helps a family of sea turtles make their way back to the ocean. Experience the wonder and beauty of the California coastline through Spider-Man's eyes. Join Spider-Man on his coastal adventure and discover the magic of nature and the power of imagination.
Storyblocks Audio.
We're jumping back into QuickTime so we can see how Visla did producing the video, making the movie of the story that I used the AI to write.
In this video adaptation of the children's story, Spider-Man's Coastal Adventure, we follow Spider-Man as he explores the beautiful California coastline. Spider-Man doesn't just swing between skyscrapers in New York City, but also explores the sandy beaches, rocky cliffs, and lush forests of California. As always, Spider-Man is ready to help those in need and protect the innocent. But in this new environment, Spider-Man will also discover the magic of nature and the power of imagination. Join Spider-Man on this magical journey along the California coastline. Watch as he helps a family of sea turtles make their way back to the ocean. Experience the wonder and beauty of the California coastline through Spider-Man's eyes. Join Spider-Man on his coastal adventure and discover the magic of nature and the power of imagination.
Storyblocks Audio.